Hi guys, good morning and welcome back once again to The Edward. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I'll be bringing you my thoughts and feelings on the latest and super great episode of AMC's The Walking Dead. And with this episode, guys, we have 2 episodes left. The next episode and then the episode after that is the series finale. Holy shit. I still haven't processed it yet. I don't know if I will, and when I do, I'm probably going to cry like a baby. Oh, man, but more on that later. But in the meantime, let's talk about the recent episode that just dropped. I'm not talking about the one that's going to drop later tonight on AMC. I'm talking about the one that dropped on AMC Plus. So, if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead by the most recent episode, or with the one that dropped on AMC Plus, or the one that's about to drop on AMC later tonight, you do not want to keep watching or listening to this videos. I'm obviously going to be discussing big spoilers, character stuff, plot details, all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned. First and foremost, this episode was a prime example of where, you know, as much as I wanted to see Negan die and suffer because of what he did to the group back in seasons 7 and 8, I've learned to like him as a transformed character because he's had a really interesting arc on this series. But that being said, there have been many moments throughout the series since his downfall as the leader of the Saviors that he's been put through the ringer emotionally and physically. So he may not die anytime soon, and he's not going to because he and Maggie have their own spin-off show coming next year. But he still gets put through the ringer periodically, both physically and emotionally. And I feel like karma reared its ugly head in this episode. I wasn't surprised that he pretended to be the one spearheading the worker revolt in the little worker camp that they're in with Ezekiel and everybody else, because really that was Ezekiel and the other characters who were spearheading that. Negan was just a part of it. So I'm not surprised that he took the fall for that, because he wasn't about to pin Ezekiel, because that would contradict everything that he now is trying to stand for, being a father and a husband and whatnot. And it would contradict his character as well. So I'm not surprised that he took the fall for everybody. But it's probably because he was under the initial impression that only he would be executed. But when the warden realized what he was doing and quickly said, "No, we won't have any martyrs here," the son of a bitch grabbed his pregnant wife and put her on her knees right next to him, to Negan's dismay and agony. And I realized, oh shit, he is now in the same position he had Rick's group in when we first met him at the end of season 6. But in Negan's case, now he was on his knees with his loved one carrying his child right next to him, both of them facing execution at the hands of a tyrant backed by a small army. The only difference was, in this case, the army kind of turned on their commander, which in this case was the warden, or at least some of them did. And of course, Ezekiel and the allies stepped in and physically put themselves between the Commonwealth soldiers and Negan and Annie. I don't know if Ezekiel necessarily did that for Negan's sake. I think he did it for more Annie's sake. But I think Ezekiel has a newfound outlook, if not possible, respect for Negan after watching him selflessly almost take the fall on behalf of everyone. But he mostly did it for his wife, I think. I don't think Negan necessarily did this for Ezekiel and the allies. I mean, he could have. He probably did. But I think in Negan's mind, he mostly did this for Annie's sake and their unborn child. And I think moving forward, which isn't really saying much because there's only 2 episodes left, but I think there'll be a fairly newfound trust or respect between Ezekiel and Negan after this, which is pretty cool. And so, as much as I didn't want to see either Negan or Annie be executed by the Commonwealth soldiers, I thought, another moment of karma for Negan. Now he's the one on his knees begging for his wife's life to a bloodthirsty tyrant backed by a small army. And this is almost the same position he had Rick and his people in when he first met them all those years ago. So I was like, the parallels are uncanny, and I'm sure that was completely deliberate due to very well done, very creative writing. So hats off to the writers of this episode, because that was brilliant. Thankfully, it turned out for the better in this case, because our characters stepped in and physically separated themselves from Negan and Annie from the Commonwealth soldiers. And it helped that Commonwealth soldier, that Negan kind of tapped into, wanted to see his own brother again, or like tapped into his familial love. And I think that Commonwealth soldier wasn't too happy with the warden denying his transfer, so it helps that they quickly got him on their side, and the other Commonwealth soldiers, or at least most of them, followed suit. Speaking of the warden, a fitting end for a nasty character like that. Like he refused to give up the location of Coco and the other kids, even in the literal face of a walker. And then Rosita just kind of drops it and lets it bite him and rip his eye out, which was awesome and gnarly as hell. So that was really cool. And now it feels like our characters are slowly coming together. And speaking of characters, after what has felt like forever, and I don't know if it was because of his involvement with the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them franchise, but we finally got Luke back from Oceanside with his girlfriend Jules. We haven't seen either one of them for so long, probably since the end of season 10, and both of them have sat out season 11 for the most part up until this point. So it's so great that they finally reunited with some of our characters, and it feels like that particular batch of characters are going to end up making their way either towards Oceanside or Alexandria, teaming up with the rest of our characters who are all now, for the most part, grouped together in Alexandria, or Outpost 22 as the Commonwealth calls it. Speaking of the Commonwealth, I think Pamela knows that there's a serious threat to her reign because, she tried that outrageous claim that it wasn't her son Eugene had recorded, that Eugene had fabricated it somehow. But I loved how everybody in the courtroom, well, almost everybody, was calling bullshit, And of course, I wasn't surprised with the outcome of the trial. I think we all knew it was extremely rigged against Eugene and Yumiko. So, of course, a guilty verdict was a given. Not surprised there. But what was a pleasant surprise was Mercer's switching of the sides in the very final shot of the episode. I actually expected him to pull out 2 pistols and kill the 2 guards right behind Eugene and then kill the 2 guards that were right behind him. But it seems like he's got some soldiers who are loyal to him on his side, and it makes me realize that not every single Commonwealth soldier is going to be willing to lay down their lives for Pamela. A lot of them probably have families in the Commonwealth and want better lives for themselves and their families. And so I think with Mercer now finally joining the fight, so to speak, I think we'll watch a lot of fellow Commonwealth soldiers follow suit. Not all of them, because there's still got to be conflict in an armed battle, but I think quite a few of them that are especially loyal to Mercer are going to follow suit and switch sides as well, much like Mercer did. So that was a great way to end the episode. And of course, it's always a treat when we get another F-bomb in this show, because we haven't gotten many of those over the years, and it's nice that we're finally getting them in the final season. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as much as I did. What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day. The Walking Dead only has 2 episodes left this season and this series, guys. We have the next episode dropping next week, and then we're going to get a brief hiatus, and then the series finale drops November 20th. Oh my God. I still haven't processed yet, and I don't think I will. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.